A.D. King, as we called him, was Martin's younger brother. Christine was the oldest, Martin was second, and then A.D.
He was my pastor and also a friend, not only to our church, but the whole community.
He was one of about 4 preachers that, along with Fred Shuttlesworth, invited us to come into Birmingham. He went to jail in Birmingham with his brother.
We couldn't go in the public facilities, so they started using the churches. And we started having mass meetings at the churches.
And a lot of people saw Martin Luther King Jr., but they didn't see A.D. Williams King, who was really some of that inspiration that I saw that Dr. King got, because they was close.
A.D. was almost as good a preacher as Martin.
A lot of us would watch him preach, and he was one of the preaching rascals that God put down here. We would try to pick up terms from him in his ministry.
I don't think that his objective was to get out so that a lot of people would know him. His word would speak for him.
He was the one that really instituted and led that open housing demonstration and marches to bring about the open occupancy law. It was Louisville, Kentucky, under the leadership of A.D. King, Leo Lesser, and Reverend Kirby. In Louisville today, the church that he pastored in Louisville, Kentucky, is like a monument. And a lot of people go there basically because that's the church that A.D. pastored at.
On May the 11th, that was the Saturday night before Mother's Day. A little before 11 o'clock, I was sitting in the living room where this picture window is that I'm looking at now. I had set the dining room table with all of my finery, getting ready for the next day, which was Mother's Day. I recall this picture window. I looked at it and it began to crack, and I could not understand what was happening, so I was sitting there kind of like in a daze. My husband, who was in the bedroom working on his sermon, walked up to this front door, opened it, looked up and down the street, and he said, "Naomi, it's too quiet here. Let's get out of here." So he came over, took me by my hand.
Daddy comes out of the master bedroom, runs up the hallway, into the living room, picks up his wife, begins running through the house. Get out, it's a bomb. My brother's here. He comes on down the hallway. My brothers were in one room, my sister and I in another room. We run out this door back here, which is the door going out to the garage. And we get out of the house, and they had to come back in and get my baby sister. And then we run out through the garage and on out and over the fence.
I was in the living room looking at television when I heard the first blast. But I was standing in my door when the second blast went off. Reverend King was in the yard. He called, "Somebody help me." And a man came down the alley and went over there to help him.
When I looked around, A.D. and Naomi and them were jumping the fence to get out on the side. And we were helping them out of the fence.
And by the time we walked to the middle of my home and we looked back, this is the picture that was seen from a second bomb. There were 2 bombs, second bombs, and this is what was left of my beautiful home.
I was one of the student leaders. We had been doing the demonstrations in Birmingham when it came down. I was one of the groups with the security folk who went over to the house to sort of stand guard, but it was really too late because the bombing had taken place.
After his brother, Martin Luther King Jr. was shot and killed, I remember my husband went into a deep state of mourning.
I think A.D. really never quite got over his brother's death.
You see, he never been so hurt as when his brother got assassinated.
And then shortly after that, his mother was killed while she was playing the Lord's Prayer.
Couldn't get over that, and he was traveling in night and day.
The tragedy of the family is just overwhelming. A.D.'s death was both a tragedy and a mystery. He died drowned in his swimming pool in his own backyard, even though he was a good swimmer.
Some say he was murdered, some say he was slain.
And there's never been a clear understanding of what happened.
The statement that Mahatma Gandhi made during his time, and he said, "There go my people, for I must catch up with them, I am their leader."
He was a great man. Yeah. Feared nothing. Yeah, he was a tough fella.
A.D. King was a mighty warrior. He always looked out for his older brother. He never got the credit for his role, but he was always there